So hello and welcome everyone to the fantastic podcast channel of the Semmelweis Student Union. Today is going to be a special day regarding the topic at today's podcast, as this is going to be the very first EUniWell-themed podcast episode at Semmelweis University. For those of you who are not yet familiar with EUniWell, it's a wonderful university, European University Alliance, bringing together 12 top-notch European universities, including Semmelweis. And it makes it possible for our researchers, staff members, professors, and students to travel and connect with other like-minded professionals from all across Europe. If you want to find out more about EUniWell, and then we added all necessary links into the podcast description below. So after you listen to this episode, then go and read about what wonderful possibilities are available for you within EUniWell. Back to today's episode, my name is Fanny Matyasowski, and I am the EUniWell Institutional Coordinator at Semmelweis University. And I'm also going to be the host of today's conversation, which I'm going to engage in with our special guest today, Professor Dr. Beáta Dávid, Dean of the Faculty of the Health and Public Administration, Director of the Institute of Mental Health, and our very first EUniWell Champion. Bea, welcome. It's so good to have you on this episode and that you found some time for today's conversation.
Thank you very much, and it's a very good idea, and it's nice to be the first of anything. So this is the first common project that we have. Thank you. Thank you for inviting.
Indeed. So to warm up today's conversation a little bit, could you briefly introduce yourself to the listeners, maybe your professional background and role at the university, your research focus, and so on?
Thank you very much. Thank you again. I'm a sociologist and I did my PhD also in sociology back at 1999 at University of Érte. Since then, I'm doing all kinds of research work. At the beginning, it was the Hungarian Academy of Sciences. Now it's called HUNREN. And finally, now we are going back to Érte. So it's a nice shift from one university back to Érte. And at my position at Semmelweis University started in 2013 when I became a professor, full professor, and then in few years later, and now for 11 years, I'm now the director of the Institute of Mental Health, and from July the 1st, I'm dean of the faculty. I'm also the program leader of our doctorate program, Interdisciplinary Social Sciences doctorate program. And what I really want to emphasize, and I think it's very important maybe also for the students, that I'm the editor-in-chief of the European Journal of Mental Health, and which is a free access journal with right now we at a Q3 position and has an impact factor of 0.6. So it collects all kinds of free of charge and open access articles on mental health. So I really welcome students, if you are interested to publish, to send it to the university, the first and only university-owned journal. So this is about my professional background. I'm also involved in many voluntary work, which is also somehow connected to my profession and to my research. And what I want to maybe emphasize here that, and maybe some of you heard about Homestart Hungary, and it's an international Homestart worldwide association looking after families with small children.
That sounds lovely.
Yes, it's very interesting.
Okay, so maybe just a small question here.
Yes.
How much time does it require to do this voluntary work? Because you are already really busy, I imagine.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It depends, of course, but sometimes, when it's very interesting how we change the focus. For example, this summer, we had a 1 day off and a strategic meeting with the other trustee board members and those who direct the foundation. So but sometimes it's in all your life when you are interested in something, then you have time for it. You have time for whatever you want.
Okay.
And this is it's a good going back to my research, that why I'm doing my research now for 30 more years on personal relationships, anything to do with relationships. And it comes from my really conviction that personal relationships are the first and the last very important thing for our well-being and for our integration into the society, starting with family relations, then going to friends, then going to classmates, schoolmates, and you know, all kinds of civic associations and relationships and knowledge ties, all kinds of different things that are important, that how we are in this world, and we are not alone, so this is very important.
Okay.
And just maybe as why I am very interested and really believe in personal relationships comes from the famous psychologist Jung. It's a kind of self-translation, but he says that human relationships have vital role in healing, self-discovery, the journey of individuation seen for him as a process of reclaiming our lost soul through connection and integration. So I think this is something really that I've been sticking to now for my personal life and my professional life. And what kind of focuses this entails is research on the individual level, that how social support, for example, is very important, to physical and mental health, happiness, what it means, what is the meaning of life on an individual level. So this has been the focus in my researches. But as a sociologist, I have to be, and I am interested on the societal level, which in this sense, in this regards, come to social cohesion and integration, social isolation, social capital, which means trust, neighborhood relationships, and all comes public health. So the concern for public health.
Okay. So I so see the connection here with EUniWell. But just to go a little bit deeply.
Yes.
So how did your EUniWell journey begin? I see that you're really interested in well-being and how that connects to all that you have mentioned here. But I'm interested in like what motivated you to join the EUniWell-related work of Semmelweis.
It's very interesting. We got through my colleague, Fruzsina Albert, who is my kind of, we've been working together for again 30 years with these researches on relationships and connections, and she was contacted to join a research which is called EUniMatter. So it's the well-being of students and improving students' well-being and academic success through increased mattering. Mattering is now a very new focus on how it is related. It's a psychological approach. And with my colleagues, we built up a little research here at the university. So that was the first part that interested me. And then the second one, which is, I think, in the long run, and if we see how EUniWell on a European level is heading to something, and not just for the time being, for those few years that exist, but in the long run as well. It's called the Well-being Oriented Healthcare MA. It's a master program that we are doing with 5 other universities within the EUniWell network. And that made me really interested and focus on EUniWell. So this is how I became involved with the Hungarian university team, and somehow they, kind of approached me and asked me if I'm interested to become the champion when the call came out. Okay. So this is the story behind.
Okay. Questions about champions soon, but first, what do you think is the biggest benefit of being part of a university alliance like EUniWell?
I think, as I just said, it's this new MA. If I really have to pick up one thing, because through the work, how we approach this MA, how this MA is built up, how it's going to be allowed within the European higher education system, it's a challenging thing. It's something really good to learn, how we are different, but at the same time same. How the different university, the different way of thinking and the approaches, has benefit for each of us, but we still have to find a common ground. And this is, I think, deep down the why the European Union was founded, although now it's a little bit diverse, but still I think we are doing something to show that it's possible. We are in the making, but we will get to it.
So as you mentioned, you are our first EUniWell champion. My question would be, because you can read about what a EUniWell champion is on the EUniWell website, and they say that the champions are so-called well-being ambassadors of the participating universities. But what does that really entail? So what does it mean being a champion?
This is why I said at the beginning that it's nice to be the first, because we are in the process of making what is thought when the call came out to be the champion and what we make of it. So we are about, I think, 9 champions, if I'm correct. And I had the opportunity to attend this June, the first CAS symposium in Santiago de Compostela in Spain, where I met 2 other champions. And it was very interesting that we all, just the 3 of us, but thought completely differently our roles. So what we decided, and what hopefully is going to be accomplished in the beginning of September, that probably most of us will meet, and somehow we make it and form it, what it means to be a champion. So all of us understand the responsibility, but how it's really fulfilled and how should we we do the most out of it, I think it's on us to do it. My idea is somehow and that's why it's a responsibility, that in each international role that we take in a higher position, from our personality, from our knowledge, from our background, this is, for many people, we are the first Hungarians that they meet. So it's very important, especially now, that we give good impressions. We kind of open up and show ourselves that what Semmelweis University is, what Hungarians are, what is Hungarian science. So all kinds of things. So I think this is in my role. I see my role in it for the EUniWell. Another thing is what I do for the university, Semmelweis, but that's another question.
Okay. So I read that your champion focuses on understanding and exploring the concept of social health. I think we briefly touched on this when you were introducing your interest areas and professional areas earlier.
Yes.
But can you explain what social health means, and especially in the context of academia and well-being?
For a long time, and as I mentioned before, based on Jung's quotation, that connections, social relationships, anything to do with integration and all that, it's been known for a long time that it has some connection to health, how it helps maybe to recover faster. So that it has to do something with health and well-being, it was known. What I really found interesting, and somehow I found the missing key, that and it's a book based book by let me just see, Casely Killam, published in 2024, The Art and Science of Connection, where she brings out the subject that social health in itself is directly connected to health. So not through physical health, not through mental health, but social health as such. So that means that if we look at health as supported by three pillars from the Greek constructions, we see that these pillars are separate pillars and each of them as important as the other. So this is what my focus now is, to show that how in itself connections is important, and why why my focus is and how it's related to the university and to young people, that again for the past 10 years and especially with COVID it became even stronger, that we call this the century or the past 10, 20 years worldwide, not just in Hungary, is the age of loneliness, which means that loneliness and isolation, social isolation, is becoming so widespread that it rings very serious bells in public health matters. And the problem is that, and again it's with COVID it's even became stronger, is that this kind of age of loneliness, isolation, is even worse among the young people. So we really have to do something in all kinds of fields. As a sociologist, psychologist, at the high schools, that's why I really support the civic, any kinds of civic associations, to teach, to learn, to show young people that the most important things, that they are connected and they have friends and they are not alone and they are not just using their iPhones or whatever and connected through the social media. It's a disaster at the end.
It's so interesting what you're saying, because one would imagine that people are more connected than any other times before, because we are one text away from from anybody really in our life, but yet everyone seems to be lonely.
Yeah, there are very nice photos that you can see a young girl, for example, just backing the wall and so lonely, so alone, without anything, without no decorations, and just looking at her phone. And again, based on other different researches, we see that with this kind of connections using the phone, how the verbal discussions has diminished. So it's only a few words, and this is again unimatter, how you can say what you feel. Can you really talk about your feelings? Can you really say 2 or 3 proper sentences about who you are, what you think, whatever, what your experiences were last year, not just I had a nice coffee.
And you mentioned that something has to be done because it's so serious.
Yes.
But what can be done? And I'm asking this especially in the context of universities, like how can social health be implemented in a university environment?
Based on not Casely Killam's book, but since it's a big problem, as I said, this social isolation, also in the States and in England, it's a public health concern. And there's a very interesting book in the United States, which has went through and looked through this problem and say that there are, to increase and to, let's say, to focus more on social health and social connections, it has 6 pillars. So in my proposal, I picked up out of these 6 pillars 3 that can be used in a university environment and also as a EUniWell champion, what I can do. So the first thing, and it goes back to the university, to Semmelweis as well, we have to talk. We have to increase public awareness that how connections are important, why they are important. And the next step is to show data, of course, the all kinds of researches that are done, do researches, and again, show the results. But before that, just talking like this, just discussing, just saying that, listen, you have to connect. You have to find friends, you have to trust, you have to talk, you have to learn how to talk, how to, say your feelings, all that kinds of things. So increase public awareness. And then we have to expand the conversation. Again, this is the same track. And what the third pillar is design the built environment to promote social connections. In this regard, I really think my role as the editor-in-chief of the European Journal of Mental Health, I really want to design a special call for again, it's more for the professionals, to compile a thematic issue on social connections, on social health, to see all the different things. So I think this is the kind of line that I'm, and through this line, through these posts, I still have many things to do, but this is the
So you mentioned that loneliness is the most severe amongst young people. How would you encourage students or younger people, but let's just say students because we are sticking to the university environment, to engage more in human relationships?
Take all the opportunity. And for example, HUC at this university, I think is, I wouldn't say ahead of time, but I think they really understand this problem. And they want to make anything and everything they make to make these kind of connections offline. So and there are plenty of opportunities how people can meet. So I think what I can tell the young people is to take the opportunities, and especially if they come from the countryside, and maybe a few connections, friendships, they are not connected anymore physically because they are here in Budapest, a different place. So make new friends. And the ones who live in Budapest, again, it's always a tricky thing. When I was at university, I had different communities that I belonged at that time. So mostly I didn't concentrate so much on my university friends because I had other connections. But now I'm not sure that young people, they still have all kinds of other ties and belonging to different friendship groups, whatever. So really get together here at this university first and take the opportunity. And once you have, again, it's very interesting that when I go and talk and this kind of increasing public awareness of how relationships are important and connections, I always see from the eyes that it bears the ring. It comes some kind of experiences, either positive or negative, the students have. And then they come, so what should I do? So this is what I can tell them. Take the opportunity. It's there. And you shouldn't say, oh, it's expanded, because this is what we say. I don't have time. You have time. We spend so much time on being online. Again, the statistical office, there are researches on how 24 hours spent by each person. And now it's about 2, 3, 4, 5 hours just looking at our phones. And instead of going out, instead of talking, instead of just, reading, whatever. So take the opportunity, and what's offered, take it.
Okay. So you mentioned HUC as a good practice already, what HUC does at
Yes.
the university, but
Yes.
is there any other particular research projects or community practices at Semmelweis that you could also mention as a positive example of fostering social health within the university?
For example, this UniMatter research that we are involved in, here we we made focus groups again to somehow foster this kind of knowledge and way of thinking. There are all kinds of researches I'm aware of, but again the problem is that the participation is very low. And again, it's a kind of track. What I also experienced that any kinds of, again, civic work and civic experiences, that those who experience once that how nice it is to be part of a community, then they kind of start multiplying themselves. But the first step is to go out and do something for the first time. And then I don't have to say anything else, but to do this first step is the most important. So, for example, HÖK or all kinds of other, groups and either voluntary groups or just nice people who know and understand relationships and how it can be formed. Again, it's a big responsibility for them to grab the others and somehow go through their experiences, show them their experiences, that it's nice to be together and it's nice to be sharing anything. And for the newcomers, for the university, 6 years, it's a lot of time, a very important time of their life. So they have to take the chance.
Okay. So how do you envision using your champion platform to raise awareness or generate dialogue about this topic, not just in Semmelweis, but in the whole university alliance of EUniWell?
That I can't say, okay, I have the solution. For example, your idea about this podcast, I think it's a very good solution. We'll see how it reaches the people. Maybe if I'm invited to any kind of students alliances, I can go, and I will go and talk and show very important data, so to face the problem. And kind of combine research and science with everyday practices. So which is also, I think, very important, that it's not for its own sake that we measure and ask and make them feel the questionnaires for so long, but it has an important meaning and result that we have to give back to the people we asked.
Okay. And is there any other goals you would like to achieve during your time as a champion? Are there any specific projects or collaborations that you are planning with others within EUniWell?
This is, as I said, that we are in the making. What we all think about our roles. So I think eventually, that we, not with everyone because we are on different fields, but who knows, that maybe 2, 3, 4 partners and champions, and through them their universities, we can apply for bigger researches, collaborations. So I think this is one, and I think it's a possible outcome. Again, participation in all kinds of possibilities, conferences, not very in this sense. For example, this although we were not many at this CAS conference, but the ones who were there, we already started something.
Okay. So we have been talking about social health a lot, but I'm really interested in what are some of the key well-being challenges, other well-being challenges you see, what you experience in university settings today, especially among students and staff.
It's difficult for me to open up to other. You mean physical exercises again? But that, in my mind, it's connected that we can do it together.
Yeah.
Talking the mental health problems. Again, it comes that have somebody you can talk to, and it's not the psychiatrist or the psychologist, just somebody else from your age group that has similar experiences. So yes, I think these are and of course eating, drinking, all that stuff. But again, I think everything comes from that how we really see ourselves in the society.
So basically, these three pillars that you mentioned, they all connect.
Yes, yes. So we can. It's very interesting. For example, in this book, I mentioned the art and sciences of connections. That how it differentiates between physical health, mental health, and social health. So, and it has, for example, the examples of behaviors, how we have to behave. When we talk about physical health, it's exercise and sleep. When it comes to mental health, it's therapy and mediation. Again, I think this is the professional level, but you can do it in a lower level. Just, as I said, talk to each other and see the others if they have any problem. Again, this is very important in England. At the University of Birmingham, I saw this very good example and good practice that there's a network of social workers who are trained to see the students and to see if there's any problem with them. If they don't show up, for example, they look after them. So that can be done within the study groups, for example, that we are responsible for each other. So this is the mental health part, and the social health, connections and volunteering. So different practices, but somehow they are still all connected.
Okay. How do you break the ice? Because you mentioned that the hardest thing to do is taking that first step. So, for example, if someone is, just like going into an example, if someone is too afraid to be part of a new community or to go to therapy or start exercising, like what can help people making that first step?
It's a very tricky and difficult question, because by the time you are 18, 19, and 20, and it happens that you came to this age without ever experiencing such things, it's not easy when at this age. So what I think, the responsibility is on those people who do have the experience, and somehow at the old times, let's say, it was maybe easier because it was not this credit-based studies. So people were in groups, 8-10 people, so they really knew each other. Nowadays it's different. So maybe somehow this kind of smaller groups forming should be redone. I don't know how. So, and then those people who are more on this isolated side can be helped, because otherwise, unless someone gives a hand, it's very difficult, really. And sometimes it's too late, so we shouldn't wait for that. Dropping out, again, drinking, all that kind of things that you do with your health when you are not balanced.
How do you think universities can become more well-being oriented institutions in practice? Can you maybe mention a couple of examples?
I think what, as I said before, what the HUG does is very important, that it reaches to as many people as possible. Again, we are in an era when we have so many things offered, and somehow we don't take the chance or possibilities. So, okay, in once we can say it's our problem, but still it's a problem. So because HUG, it's always easier to take advices and offers from your age group or from somebody who's similar age to you, not from us professors. It's a different hierarchy. It has to by the time we have a relationship with students, 3-4 years passed. So it's the mate, the schoolmates, the classmates, the university mates. So that kind of groups should help, really, I think.
Okay.
I don't know if there's any other things like HÖK at the university. Our faculty, our institute is not much involved with this young generations. We have courses and programs for the older people, so it's a different issue.
Do you think that making conversation flow between, for example, students and professors easier and less hierarchical, would that help?
I'm sure. I'm sure. But that's, again, it's more the personalities. You cannot force anybody to change. So if someone is like that from the beginning and it's an open personality, then I think maybe we should encourage those professors and teachers and anybody at the university that don't be afraid to break this kind of ice between, personal engagement and how shall I say it, a little bit more on the private side and less on the professional side. So maybe that's a solution for us on the other side, that don't be afraid to be open and kind of reach differently the young people. Again, it's a very tricky thing to balance, because somehow then it's the other side and then they can blame you that whatever. So we are not in an easy era in this sense. That I always say that somehow, because what I'm talking about, relationships, connections, it's common sense. We shouldn't talk about it. We should do it, really. This is what I say when we do research and we study happiness. It's crazy. We should be happy. We shouldn't study happiness. We should be happy. But it's not the case anymore.
Yeah, it's so easy to say it, but
it's
not
easy
so
to
easy
say
to
it.
do
But
it.
there are plenty of books. There's also now really a research focus on happiness, so from all kinds of aspects. It's nonsense. So somehow we lose our common sense, and this kind of, again, that why I say, social health is important, of course. But it's common sense, really. But we are not at this time, we are not in that era, really, that when it's so easy. So that we have to kind of rearrange in our mindset.
Okay.
We have to rearrange our mindset. I think that's the most important thing.
Okay. So if I ask if you can mention just one thing that could improve academic well-being in universities, would that be going out and connecting with people?
Yes. When I do my presentations in Hungarian, and with this friend of mine, Fruzsina Albert, more than 10 years ago, we wrote a book on friendship in Hungarian. And the last part of this book, and maybe the last page, there's a very nice Hungarian poem written by Attila József. I think it makes it means something to you. And he wrote a poem in 1924, and in Hungarian it's called A számokról, on numbers. That's the poem. I don't know if I can read it out in Hungarian.
Yeah, I'm sure you can.
Because for the Hungarian listeners, I think it's a very important poem. And I translated. I couldn't find the official translation for the poem, unfortunately. But I tried to translate one important part that answers to your question and to the last question that you asked, what I should do. So it's kind of mingled.
Okay.
So what I do for the university, or what I think to improve the academic well-being. So I read out this poem. It's not not long, and then I just translate a
Okay,
few.
sure.
So a számokról. Tanultátok-e a számokat? Bizony a számok, az emberek is. Mintha sok egyes volna az irkában, hanem ezek maguk számolódnak. És csodálkozik mód fölött az irka, hogy mindegyik csak magára gondol. Különb akar lenni a többinél, s oktalanul külön hatványozódik. Pedig csinálhatja a végtelenségig, az egy íjformán mindig egy marad, és nem szoroz az egy, és nem is oszt. Vegyetek erőt magatokon, és legelőször is a legegyszerűbb dologhoz lássatok. Adódjatok össze, hogy roppant módon felnövekedvén az Istent, aki végtelenség, valahogyan megközelítsétek. So this is the Hungarian poem. And what I translated and what I think is as a motto. This part, vegyetek erőt magatokon, és legelőször is a legegyszerűbb dologhoz lássatok, adódjatok össze. So the English translation would be like, take courage and first of all, do the simple thing, get together. So what I really think is sit down together, get to know each other, talk to each other, listen to each other, see each other, feel each other, whatever, help each other.
Okay.
So this is my
That was wonderful. Thank you so much for reading it.
Thank you very much.
And actually, I have just one more closing question for you.
Yes.
What does well-being mean to you on a personal level?
Yes. Again, this get together, be with the family, be with friends, spend time with friends. So this is why I started, why I became a sociologist, and why this is my research, which I really believe. But I also like to listen to opera music. Okay. So if I really have time and if I have the opportunity to go to and see the opera, that helps my well-being a lot.
And I guess if you go with friends or family, that's even better.
Yes. But there to the opera, you can't be in a big group.
Okay.
So it's I think that's what I do. Okay. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, Bea, thank you so much again for taking the time to tell all those wonderful insights to our listeners. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
And I would also like to thank everyone who has been listening to this very first EUniWell-themed podcast episode on the podcast channel of the Semmelweis Student Union. I hope you not only enjoyed it, but also learned a lot from the insights that Bea shared with us today, and that you get the chance to get to know EUniWell a bit better. At last but not least, a special shout out to the Semmelweis Student Union for hosting today's episode. Hopefully we will soon be back with more. And until then, bye.